Hey, it's Theo, and thank you for joining me. Today I wanted to go over every neutral card from the new expansion into the Emerald Dream. Now, I didn't want to waste your time by discussing every card for over 8 minutes, so what I want to do is just quickly discuss every card and then move on to the next, so every review will be in 1 minute or less. So, let's get started with the first card, the Slumbering Sprite. A 1 mana 3/3, starts dormant. After you use your hero power, this awakens. Now, a 1 mana 3/3, obviously, that seems good in any aggro deck. However, yeah, you have to use your hero power to awaken this. And the problem with that is, aggro decks don't really want to use the hero power early. So, yeah, the text kind of conflicts with the rest of the card. And yeah, maybe there's something with Imbue, but I doubt it. Imbue feels more like a late game mechanic and not something you want to be using early because of course you have to upgrade it. So this card just seems like something that isn't going to work and I'm going to give it 1 star. Now moving on to the next is the Dreambound Raptor, a 1 mana 2/1. After you play a minion, give it a random bonus effect. So bonus effect is stuff like Rush, Lifesteal, Wind Fury, you know the things. So yeah, this one, it's great if you can buff some stuff. However, yeah, you need to play minions after it. It has 1 health, so it's very likely to die if you play it without buffing stuff. So basically that means you have to wait for later when you can play multiple minions after it. And yeah, that takes a while. You need a bunch of cheap minions. And then all you get is a bonus effect, which yeah, sometimes it's just completely useless, right? And while this card can of course snowball, it feels like it's going to be too random to be worth running. I'm also going to give it 1 star. Then the following card is the Critter Caretaker, a 1 mana 2/2. At the end of your turn, restore 3 health to both heroes. A 1 mana 2/2 with basically upside. That seems kind of good. However, it's yeah, it's a 1 mana 2/2, but yeah, on turn 1, it's not that great. Trying to push damage with this early is also kind of pointless because you also heal the opponent. Now, in the past, neutral healing has seen play a bunch, so that's why I want to give it kind of a chance. I'm just kind of struggling to think of what deck this is gonna see playing. Like maybe a Warlock deck that has a lot of cards and just can kind of just dump it while healing benefit. But yeah, not much elves, so I'm gonna give it 2 stars just because of that. But yeah, barely 2 stars. Then the last one drop we have is the Gnawing Greenfin, a 1 mana 1/1 Murloc battlecry. You get a random Murloc. Now we've seen more of these kind of cards, just a 1 mana 1/1 that generates another card. And yeah, usually though they've been buffed to a 1/2 lately and haven't really seen much play. Same with this one, you get a random Murloc. Well, the only time you want to be playing a card like this is probably going to be in like a Murloc deck. They haven't really been that great. So hard to see this card seeing much play. However, maybe if there's a Murloc deck, I can't see it being played. It is a 1 mana 1/1 generated card, so I'm going to give it 2 stars just because maybe there's going to be a Murloc deck for it. Then let's go to the 2 drops, so starting with Patel Peddler, a 2 mana 1/4 dragon. At the end of your turn, give another random friendly dragon +1/+1. So yeah, a 2 mana dragon that kind of snowballs if you have another dragon on board. So it's a bit of a Shadow Ascendant kind of card. Bit more narrow, however, it does have the tribe on it and 4 health, so it's a bit harder to kill. So the only time I think this will see play is like an aggressive dragon deck, like Serimi Priest. It's kind of a perfect fit for that deck. It's what it wants, also because another 2-drop rotates. So I think that will just take its place. And yeah, I think it's going to be a solid card on that because yeah, they can have pretty strong early game with the whelp into this. And if you can't clear it, just keep snowballing. So I think for that, I'm just going to give it 3 stars. Next, we have the Creature of Madness, already a card that's in the game. A 2 mana 1/2 battlecry, discover a 3-cost minion with a Dark Gift. Now, I've been playing a little bit of this, but yeah, it didn't feel that good. Maybe just because of the deck I was playing it in, the Discover Hunter, because generally it wants to kind of do other things early on. There are some high rolls you can get with it though. And with the rotation, of course, the power level will go down, or at least it should. So maybe then we'll see a little bit of play, just slot in the deck as one of the last few cards, so that's why I think I'm going to give it 2 stars. And then we have the Bark Shield Sentinel, a 2 mana 2/2 taunt. After you use your hero power, gain +2 health. So yeah, by itself, pretty bad. It forces you to use your hero power. So that means, again, just like the 1 drop, it's a card you don't really want to play early, but the card only works when you play it early. And unless there's going to be some way to get like a lot of hero powers very early on, which I doubt, I don't think this will see any play. I'm going to give it 1 star. Then we've got the Twisted Treant, a 2 mana 2/2. Therefore, give a random minion in each player's hand -2 attack. So you get a 2 mana 2/2 and yeah, what is it gonna do? I don't know. There's very little. It has a death roll to make it even slower. It is a treant. That's about the only upside of this card, but yeah, I'm not sure what you want to play this in and why, so I'm gonna just give it 1 star. And then we have the Tranquil Treant, another Treant, a 2 mana 2/2 Death Rattle. Both players gain an empty mana crystal. So yeah, this is a kind of neutral ramp for everybody. However, the thing is here is that whoever kills this on their turn, it basically gives the first mana crystal to their opponent, because you just gain an empty mana crystal. I'm not sure what you want to be playing this in. Well, you maybe gain more from 1 mana on average than every other deck. Running this card to have a very delayed ramp, just doesn't seem worth it. And just giving opponents an extra mana crystal seems pretty bad, so I'm gonna give it 1 star. Then we've got the Daydreaming Pixie, a 2 mana 0/4. At the end of your turn, get a random nature spell. So this is a bit like those cards, like I feel like Gold Panner, the Totem, that just draw at the end of your turn, though this of course generates a card. However, this has 4 health, so it's going to be very hard to clear early on and can get you a bunch of stuff. Though it is 0 attack, and just getting a random nature spell might not be the best. It kind of depends on the pool. However, yeah, just getting a random nature spell just doesn't feel that great. Feels like one of those cards that's only good if you play it on curve, if you draw it later. Yeah, it seems pretty bad. Like, you have to play it, then wait a turn, and then hope you get something useful. It just feels like nowadays this isn't that good anymore. Maybe a few years ago this would have been good, but nowadays, yeah, I don't think it will see play, and I'm gonna give it 1 star. Then we have the Bitterbloom Knight, a 2 mana 2/3 Battlecry, imbue your hero power. So this is a card that gets your imbue started early on, or upgrades it later on. So it feels like one of those cards that, you're gonna be playing in imbue decks. Just remains to be seen how good imbue decks are gonna be. I feel like in imbue decks it's gonna be a decent card, so I'm gonna give it 3 stars. Then we have the Raptor Herald, a 3 mana 4/2 beast. Battlecry, discover a beast with a dark gift. So soon we'll be getting this card for free on an event track. But the card, it doesn't seem very good. We already had the 2-drop with a dark gift, but this is, get a beast. But while the previous dark gift card could curve out nicely from turn 2 to 3, this is a 3-drop with pretty bad stats, and then you get a beast that might not be playable soon, and then you get maybe some mediocre options as discover, and then you just wasted 3 mana on doing nothing, and that's just not worth it nowadays. So I'm gonna be giving it 1 star. Then we got Hopeful Dryad, a 3 mana 3/3 Battlecry, get a random dream card. So the dream cards are from Ysera, and there's 2 basically very powerful ones that you probably want, which are both Dream and Ysera Awakens. Especially Awakens is a huge AoE that can be insanely strong early on, so that's probably often what you're hoping for. But yeah, generally you get a useful card most of the time. And it's not going to be amazing, but it can, I think, be one of those cards that you put last in your deck. So yeah, that's why I'm going to be giving it 2 stars. And we've got the Animated Moonwell, a 3 mana 1/4 elemental. After you cast a spell, gain attack equal to its cost. So obviously, yeah, this can snowball pretty crazily if it doesn't get dealt with. However, yeah, playing a 3 mana 1/4, and then next turn it's maybe a 5/4 if you exactly play a spell. That just doesn't really cut it nowadays. It's an elemental, but yeah, you don't play this in elemental decks because they don't really run many spells. You want to be carving out elementals, so that doesn't really help it too much. So yeah, I'm not sure what this goes into, so I'm going to be giving it 1 star. Then we've got the Fey Trickster, a 3 mana 2/4 dragon. Death Rattle, draw a spell that costs 5 or more. So as a standalone draw card, yeah, it's not very good. The only time it's going to be good if it's can specifically tutor something like a big spell that you really need in your deck. And I think that's the only time this card will see play. However, it is Death Rattle, so it's not like you can play this in the late game and then immediately play the big spell. But maybe in some decks that really need a specific spell or 2 spells from their deck, it can be good, so I'm going to be giving it 2 stars. Then we've got the Dream Rager, another Rager, a 3 mana 5/1 elusive. I mean, it's not a Rager, it's another useless card, 1 star. Then we've got the Blood Thistle Illusionist, a 3 mana 2/4 demon. Battlecry, summon a copy of this. 1 secretly dies when it takes damage. So the text is maybe a bit confusing, at least it was for me, but this means it's a bit like Jandus from Scholomance Academy, that basically if one takes damage it dies, and the other one it's just a 2/4 with no effect. Now by itself I don't think it's gonna be very good, but as we've seen before, getting 2 copies of the same card on the board can be pretty strong, as we recently saw with the Jafar decks. And this is neutral, so there's a lot of possibilities with it. But yeah, I think it's going to be pretty narrow where it's going to be played in. But I think there's maybe some potential here, so I'll be giving it 2 stars. Then we've got the 4 mana Resplendent Dreamweaver. A 5/4 Battlecry. If you've imbued your hero power twice, do 5 damage to a minion. So yeah, you're playing Buke decks. You're probably gonna want to be playing this. It's a pretty good tool for the board. Just get a nice minion, like kill another decently sized minion. Yeah, seems good to me for imbue decks. Not amazing, but probably something you want to be playing in those decks. So I'll be giving it 3 stars. Then we have the Illusory Greenwing, a 4 mana 4/5 dragon. Taunt, Death Rattle, shuffle 2 4/5 dragons for taunt into your deck. They're summoned when drawn, so potentially this is 3 4/5 dragons with taunt. However, yeah, by itself, it's just a 4 mana 4/5. Not great, not great at all. So you're really gonna be needing to draw those 2 dragons for it to be worth it. So I feel like it's only really gonna be worth it if you can consistently tutor the dragons basically immediately afterwards. And yeah, I'm not sure where that's gonna happen. And with dragon decks, often you don't have too much card draw, so you're not gonna be drawing those super fast. So yeah, really tough to see what this will see play in. But you know what? I'm gonna be optimistic, and I think we'll see a tiny bit of play, and I'm gonna be giving it 2 stars. And you've got the Mother Duck, a 4 mana 2/3 beast battlecry, summon 3 1/1 ducklings with rush. Now that is 4 minions in 1 card on turn 4, and it feels like at least this card is gonna be somewhat powerful because of that. You also get the rush with it, so yeah, you can buff these cards. You can trade with them immediately. There are beasts as well. It's just a lot of tokens for 4 mana. You can have a whole bunch of synergies with it. Though I don't think it's gonna be overpowered or anything. So I think that's why I'm gonna be giving it 3 stars. Then the next 4-drop we have is the Flutterwing Guardian, a 4 mana 4/4 taunt, Divine Shield, Battlecry, imbue your hero power. So yeah, this is almost a Sunwalker, but yeah, a little bit cheaper with a bit of an upside. And yeah, this feels like another card that if you really want to imbue, you're probably going to be wanting to play this. But just like the other imbue cards, it really depends on how good imbue decks are going to be. But I think if imbue works, it's going to be a solid card, and I'm going to be giving it 3 stars. And then we have Nightmare Lord Xavius, a 4 mana 4/4 demon. Battlecry, discover a minion from your deck. Give it a dark gift. So yeah, decent. Discover a minion from your deck, of course. And then you give it a dark gift, so it's one of these 10 options you see here. However, yeah, it's not very consistent to give a specific dark gift to a specific minion, so you're not really looking for that. So just tutoring a minion from your deck, which can be very nice, and then maybe with an upside, especially sometimes that can be the double battle cry, can be nuts. But yeah, it's not very consistent what you want to do. So I don't think you can really build your deck around this to give like a specific dark gift to a specific minion. I don't think that is viable. Like you'd have 3 big minions and then yeah, try and give a charge, but that's only 3 in 10 of the times happening, and yeah, then you make your deck worse for maybe a 3 in 10. That doesn't seem worth it. However, I think it's still a decent card overall. Just yeah, tutor a specific minion is always good, and then with upside potentially a really good combo. But again, I don't think you want to build your deck around it. So overall, good card. I'm gonna give it 3 stars. And then the Treacherous Tormentor, a 4 mana 5/4 demon battlecry. Discover a legendary minion with a gift. Now, discovering a random legendary just hasn't been very good before. We had a card that was 3 mana did it, and it wasn't great. And this is 4 mana, even more expensive. And yeah, a dark gift, it's nice to get on top of it, but yeah, just spending 4 mana on a legendary that might just be completely useless. Yeah, I just don't think it's going to be worth it, and I'm gonna give it 1 star. Then we have the Envoy of the Glade, a 4 mana 3/6 battlecry. Transform all neutral cards in your deck into random druid ones. So yeah, get random druid cards instead of the cards you put in your deck. I mean, it somehow could be like a counter to shuffle cards, like a Steam Cleaner, but there's already Steam Cleaner. This kind of just seems worse because it doesn't hit the neutral cards. So yeah, I don't see any use for this card, and I'm going to be giving it 1 star. Then we have the Curious Cumulus, a 4 mana 3/5 elemental. At the end of your turn, give your hero Divine Shield. Now this card looks pretty annoying. Just getting Divine Shield to your hero, so yeah, no Power Blast to the face. First you have to get rid of it, so they can be pretty useful, and of course it happens every turn, so your opponent kinda has to kill it. However, I'm not really sure what you want to be playing this card in. After all, it's just a 4 mana 3/5, not particularly great, and how useful Divine Shield is kinda varying, and overall, yeah, I don't think it's really worth it to be running this for 4 mana, so I'm gonna be giving it 1 star. I think too often it's just gonna be like heal 1, heal 2, maybe heal 3, and yeah, that's not really worth it for a 4 mana 3/5. Then we got the Spore Gnasher, a 5 mana 1/5 poisonous death rattle. Deal 1 damage to a random enemy minion. So yeah, this card seems pretty terrible. I mean, if it had taunts, maybe it's a little bit better. If it was clear the whole board right, it would be a lot better. But no, it's just poisonous. 5 mana 1/5 and death rattle. You kill one random enemy minion. Just seems terrible all around. I'm gonna be giving it 1 star. Then next we've got the Tormented Dreadwing, a 5 mana 5/5 dragon. Death rattle. Draw 2 dragons. Reduce their costs by 1. So it's a dragon that tutors other dragons and cheats mana. On first look, it looks pretty good. However, yeah, a death rattle on draw, it's pretty weak. The game nowadays is all about tempo, and yeah, just playing a 5 mana 5/5 isn't really what I would call tempo. Of course, the tutor effect is really nice. The mana cheat on top of it, like maybe getting a big dragon out turn earlier is nice. But yeah, I feel like just the death rattle effect is really holding this card back. So I think it will only see maybe a little bit of play, and I'll be giving it 2 stars. Then we've got the Ancient of Yore, a 5 mana 5/5 dormant for 2 turns. While dormant, gain 5 armor and draw a card at the end of your turn. So eventually it's 5 mana, draw 2 cards, gain 10 armor, and gain a 5/5. So it's a bit like the druid spell that's rotating, which is the Frost Lotus Blossom. But however, yeah, this card is and more expensive, and it's only at the end of your turn, and it takes 2 turns to work. However, of course, it is a neutral card, and Frost Lotus Blossom was a pretty good card. And again, it's basically neutral healing, so yeah, gain 10 health. Neutral card that's is more than Healbot would give, and yeah, this actually works when you're full health, and it draws cards on top of it. However, yeah, it takes like 3 turns really to get like the full effect of this. But Neutral is pretty powerful. You draw 2 cards and you get a 5/5 eventually. So I feel like at least at some point it's gonna see a little bit of play, and that's why I think I'll be giving it 2 stars. And then we've got Shaladrassil, a 7 mana nature spell. Get all 5 dream cards. If you've played a higher cost card while holding this, corrupt them, and then you get these 5 corrupted cards. And yeah, these corrupt cards are pretty insane. They're all upgraded versions of those dream cards. And while it is a little bit slow, right, without mana cheat, you can only play this really turn 9, because you have to play an 8 mana card to corrupt it, and then you play this on turn 9. However, when you play this on turn 9, you can immediately either dream cards from the opponent, or most importantly probably is the Corrupted Awakening, which means say he plays on turn 9, you can immediately have this huge 5 damage AoE that also goes face, and just immediately clears the entire board, which is very important for a slow card like this that has that immediate impact. Now, on top of that, the Corrupted Nightmare is a nice bonus. You've got Corrupted Laughing Sister, which is seems like very annoying to deal with, and then the Corrupted Drake is yeah, just a big minion. That's really it. So overall, really 5 nice cards you get. A bit slow, but yeah, I think it's worth these cards. And yeah, it seems really strong. I'm going to be giving it 4 stars. Now we've got the Scavenging Flight Trap, a 7 mana 2/7. After a minion dies, gain its attack. Now these kind of cards, yeah, generally I haven't seen play. All it is a lot of attack on one minion with 7 health, turn 7. Yeah, this seems just not worth it. Like, just one removal, it's gone, has no immediate impact. It has too many requirements to work, so yeah, 1 star. Then we have Naralex, Herald of the Flight, a 7 mana 7/7. Your dragons cost 1. Yes, this card looks pretty insane. On first sight, making all your big dragons cost 1. It especially works well with Ysera, which we'll be covering soon, because you basically get 2 extra mana after that. So it seems like this card you can either use to combo with dragons, although I'm not sure what kind of combo you want to do for OTK right now, especially like Strazakon. So it's probably mostly going to be just a stat dump on the board. You play this, a bunch of big dragons, and then your opponent can't deal with it. Kind of similar to Dungar, because it's kind of one of those scary cards. Like, just making cards cost flat out 1 or 0 has always been scary. And it feels like a card that might be just frustrating to face, especially when a druid gets this out very early. Yeah, what can you do when you just dump a whole lot of stats? But it also, yeah, it's really going to depend on the dragon card pool. Like, there's not going to be any good dragons. Yeah, it doesn't really matter that you cheat so much mana. And while we don't know all the dragons yet, I'm still going to give it 4 stars. Just the potential of this card is insane, and can win games so easily. Then we have Malorne the Waywatcher, an 8 mana 8/6 beast. Battlecry. Discover a legendary wild god. If you've imbued your hero power 4 times, set its cost to 1. So wild god is one of these big beasts. Each class gets 1, such as the already revealed Ursoc from Death Knight. Now, obviously, we don't know the power level yet of those wild gods, because we haven't seen many yet. So that makes it kind of hard to judge. But if we just think about like what we had, the Titans, the Colossals, if it's that kind of power level, yeah, this card is going to be good, because almost all of them were pretty broken. However, of course, it has to be played in an imbue deck, and you have to imbue your hero power 4 times. So yeah, that's just, you have to kind of assume the imbue deck's going to play a lot of imbue cards, so you're going to have the imbues ready on turn 8, because yeah, without it, an 8 mana 8/6 discover a minion isn't very good. But yeah, well, it depends on how good imbue is. I feel like if it's going to be good in those imbue decks, it's going to be one of the best cards, and that's why I'm going to be giving it 4 stars. Then we have Meadow Strider, an 8 mana 6/11 beast taunt, death rattle. Put a Meadow Strider on the bottom of your deck. It costs 1. So yeah, this card could be pretty good if you could consistently get this out and then draw it immediately again. However, this card is still 8 mana, and yeah, all you get is a big taunt, and it feels like it's gonna have too many requirements to yeah, really make this card work. There's too many answers, so I'll be giving it 1 star. Then we have Ysera, Emerald Aspect, a 9 mana 4/12 dragon. Start of game, increase both players' maximum mana by 5. Battlecry, gain 3 mana crystals, so those are full mana crystals, so it works really well with Naralex, like I mentioned, so you basically gain 2 mana crystals after playing this. And yeah, this card has already been in standard for a little bit now, but yeah, it's not really sync play. It's pretty bad in standard. There's no reason to play it, because right now, of course, you want to ramp with it, so you want to play it as early as possible. And the way you do that is by playing either Warrior or Druid to ramp, but then yeah, you already got new heights, which already increases your maximum mana ramp, so then this is way too late and a little bit too expensive. So right now it's pretty unplayable, but I think with Naralex it might see a little bit of play, because the extra mana cheat is pretty huge, so I'll be giving this 2 stars. Then we've got the Scorching Observer, a 9 mana 7/9 demon. Rush, lifesteal. So it's a demon, so you could get it off Kill Jaden. It's a big lifesteal minion, even bigger after Kill Jaden. But yeah, what you want to play is it? I don't know. It's only 7 health you gain for 9 mana. Even cheating this out doesn't feel as big as some other cards, such as we've had the Walking Mountain before. That is big, because that could actually heal 16 and kill potentially 4 minions. That just seemed way, way better. And this one, yeah, just weak stats for the cost. And yeah, I don't see any deck that wants to play this, so I'll be giving this 1 star. And then the last card we have is a 10 mana dragon, the Briarspawn Drake. 12/7 stat line, and at the end of your turn, attack a random enemy minion. Access damage hits the enemy hero. So yeah, by itself, obviously, this seems pretty bad. This is not what you want to spend 10 mana on. Takes way too long, and then yeah, could potentially do nothing or very little. However, where there's potential, of course, is with Naralex to cheat this out early, or some other ways to cheat this out, or maybe even res or something, because this can potentially push a lot of damage and clear. So I feel like there's some potential there to cheat this out. By itself, not very good, but because of that, I think I'll be giving it 2 stars. And that is it for my neutral reviews. Please let me know what you thought of it, of this format, just quick reviews per card. Would you like to see more of it, or what do you think that can be improved? As always, if you enjoyed the video, make sure to like and subscribe to help me out. Thank you for watching, and until next time.